Believe it or not, it's another VO podcast with three guys who are full-time voice actors at different stages of life, career, and location.
But they have formed a bond and work together to hold each other accountable and help each other on their VO path.
Three guys from different backgrounds working together, helping each other, and sharing with you along the way.
Hey, what are we calling it again?
It's another VO
podcast.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I get it. Come on, you're not my dads.
Hey, welcome back to It's Another VO podcast. This is an odd episode, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
It's just odd. Jake's not here.
We're only at 66%.
He is vacationing out in Colorado. He had sent a message this morning that it was nice and cool out that way, and he could smell the pine needles. And I said, I don't know if I want to smell pine needles. I got enough trouble keeping my throat moist right now. But the cool part I would like, yeah, you and I were talking earlier.
Yeah, he picked the right week to get some altitude.
yeah, the heat here in our part of the country, and you guys get the same. Seems like your weather almost mirrors ours, but
a little bit.
We're not, we're not that close in miles.
Right.
You're a good 8-9 hours away, I'd say.
Upper Midwest, and you can throw a stone. You can throw a stone over to the Midwest.
Yeah. I kind of call us the upper South. Kentucky's kind of the beginning of the South, and then we're right below them, and then you're down into Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. But it's hot. It's just hot.
Yes, it's hot.
Speaking of hot, let's talk about a hot list real quick.
Sizzling.
There are ways that restaurants get judged, and whether it be on their food or their volume or whatever. But I found a survey that talks about the top 10 most valuable restaurants, which the value is based on, I think, their brand strength, their market share, their royalty rates, whatever. But I don't think any of these will surprise you. But to me, It's surprising that they are all drive-through type stuff, every one of them. And I guess that makes sense in today's world. Starting at 10, and I'm going to run through 10 to 6, and then we're going to see if we can kind of muddle through the last 5 a little slower.
Okay.
Number 10's Pizza Hut.
All right.
That one kind of shocked me a little because it's just not as popular as it used to be.
Right.
Anyway.
But it's valuable. I mean,
I guess that's the thing.
They're in communities. I'm in a small town, and we have a Pizza Hut.
Yeah, same here. 9 is Burger King. 8 is Wendy's. 7 is Tim Hortons. I love Tim Hortons. They just don't come far enough south.
Yeah, we don't have those here either.
Yeah, they're very market niched for some reason. All over Canada, of course. But I have to go. If I want to see a Tim Hortons, I got to go up towards Ohio to see one. But they're good. They're really good. Number 6 is Taco Bell. Not a surprise. And of course, Taco Bell and Pizza Hut kind of same family, I guess, still. PepsiCo.
They are, I think they're owned by PepsiCo. Yep.
I believe so. Now, here we go into the top 5. Drum roll.
Okay.
There it went. All right. Number 5 is Subway.
Really? Okay.
It said it only beat out Taco Bell by $3 million. As far
we got
as
one of those here,
the value list. Yeah.
Small
Subways,
town.
We have 2, and they're only about a half mile apart, which is odd, but okay. Number 4 is Domino's. Not a surprise. Right. People still wear Domino's out. I saw a picture online the other day of back in the old days when they had like 9 people on the telephone taking the orders actually on the phone. Yeah. I remember.
Who calls them anymore? It's all now it's all on the app now.
All on an app.
Yeah. If you're calling Domino's, they put you in a certain age group, I'm sure, in there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number 3, KFC. I think that one shocked me the most. That one shocked me the most.
Yeah.
But, and they're talking about now this is worldwide. Now this is not saying United States, it's worldwide. Now if you go to other countries, KFC is like the bomb to them. They just think it's great.
Yep.
We'd go to Japan and they'd always say, "You want to go to KFC?" And I'm like, "No, I don't really like it." "Oh, you're crazy. Come on, very good." But
Somewhere,
yeah,
where is it that I'm thinking of celebrates a holiday with KFC?
I don't know, but I
I'm
wouldn't
trying to
doubt it.
think of what. You go on. I'm going to Google that.
Yeah, you find that. Number 2, definitely not a surprise. McDonald's, right?
Yeah,
McDonald's.
yeah.
So
I
you've
would have guessed
heard
that number one, but
exactly. So you've heard all these. What do you think's left? What could be number 1? What's left? Valuable. Now, the most
the
valuable.
value.
And you know what I think of that? Where am I going to go in and pay the most and get the least? That's how I look at it. Right or
well,
wrong.
that's not Taco Bell.
No.
Huh.
You get a big sack of food still for $10, but this one.
Let's
I
see
don't
here.
know.
I would have guessed McDonald's one, and you've already said Wendy's,
2.
Burger King.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A. How about Chick-fil-A?
That's a good guess.
That's a
really good guess.
Yeah.
But let me give you some numbers. This company's value has grown 30% higher than the pre-pandemic levels.
What?
They have had a 3-year reinvention strategy that started in 2022. They are investing $450 million into existing stores. Excuse me. They are exploring opportunities in cafe pickup, delivery only, and drive-through only, and starting to specialize in more cold beverages.
Sonic?
Starbucks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Number
okay.
one.
All right.
Value.
See, there's this whole internet argument of whether Starbucks is actually fast food.
Yeah. Is it a restaurant? It's a coffee shop.
Is it a restaurant? I know,
I guess
right?
it qualifies. But that's kind of interesting. The KFC kind of shocked me. And then like you said, McDonald's not being one. But I think Starbucks just knocked them out of that. I think they were number one and Starbucks had just taken it over. So, it happens. Well, we got a touchy subject today to a lot of people.
First, I Googled this. It's Japan.
It
KFC is a holiday tradition, a Christmas tradition in Japan.
I'm not
That fascinates me. I learned that some years ago and just said, yeah.
Yeah, after making trips over there and seeing their fascination with it, I didn't get it.
Hey, I love it.
It's okay.
Are you original recipe or are you crispy?
I like the taste of the original recipe better.
Yeah.
I do, but the crispy, the chicken on the inside tastes better for some reason.
Yep.
It's not as greasy, maybe.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you the thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the crazy thing about me is I'm one of a few people that I love fried chicken livers. I would rather have that than regular fried chicken.
What about gizzards?
They're okay. They're okay. I'll eat them. Some of the KFCs still carry those. It's hard to find them, but we have a restaurant near us in Scottsville, Kentucky that has them, and they are off the hook. And they even have them at breakfast. You can order chicken livers and eggs. And my in-laws, first time we were over there having breakfast and I ordered that, they're like, "You're going to eat chicken livers for breakfast?" I said, "What's the difference? What does it matter? Chicken, sausage, bacon, whatever."
Yeah, that might be a Southern thing, by the way.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know why. I got hooked eating them. I had a deficiency back in 2016 with iron, and liver, of course, is loaded with iron. And there was a restaurant here in Portland. I'd go by there a lot of times at lunch or whatever and grab a to-go order of chicken livers, and eat on them for a couple of days just to try to get my iron up. Didn't work, but I gained 30 pounds. So it was good.
You used to could. That's another term, people might not know. You could get chicken livers or fried chicken gizzards at KFC.
Yeah.
They stopped that a long time ago.
Yeah. There's one
not enough.
In Glasgow, Kentucky that pre-COVID was still doing it. I haven't been there. I haven't been there since then, and they may still do it or they may not. You had to ask for them. A lot of times they wouldn't cook them up unless you asked for them, but they had them and they would, and they were really good. KFC had really good chicken livers. Anyway.
Okay, I feel like I'm delaying the inevitable. We have a hot topic here.
We got a hot topic.
One we've got to cover.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like to bring up the subject of Fiverr because it's a sensitive subject. But if you talk about new people who get into the business and they want to try to do some work or they want to try to do something and get a start and get some money, get paid. There are jobs on there that are terrible. We know that. There are jobs on there that are industry rate. We know that. But what we want to talk about is the differences in, let's say, Fiverr 2018-19, Fiverr 2023, why or why not to be there, a little bit of that, our opinions of that. And that's all this is our opinions. We can't tell you what and what not to do. And we want to touch a little bit on this recent push they're having to convert a lot of people over to what they're calling pro seller.
Yeah.
And there's very little solid information. I did write into their customer service to ask some questions. I got the answers. But it's not really definitive as to why they're doing it. They're just doing it. And
I read a couple things
I
read a couple things. So there's a couple rumors out there. We can discuss those as well.
Yeah. But let's turn back the clock and start. You were an early Fiverr user, worked your way through the levels and had it rolling pretty good for a while. And then it changed. So walk us through your story with dealing with it.
Well, you say early, and I think there's a group earlier than me. I think the 2015, 2016, if you got on there in that time frame, there are some people who did incredible getting on then. I was kind of a second wave of that. About 2019, I got on July, August, summer of 2019. So pre-pandemic, before everybody was forced to work from home or get creative in the ways that they could earn money and earn income for their family. For me, it was a way to test myself. It didn't cost anything. It was maybe a little bit, the jobs were a little bit more easy to get, I want to say. Certainly more easy to get than they are now. You didn't necessarily have to audition, but you could put out hang your shingle, your gig out there, and people could listen to your samples and your demo and what you could do, and then just order from you. Right. And then bing, you get an alert. Somebody has placed an order, and all right, I'm going to record a greeting for this business, and I'm going to make, whatever, 25, 40, $50.
Yep.
And it was a great way to get behind the microphone, to start working with my DAW. And yes, on a cheaper level, but on a learning level too. It was a good place for me to learn what I was doing.
Right.
So, I got it in 2019, got my first job in August, and it was, wouldn't you imagine, an IVR. So a simple business greeting, didn't have to add any music, just thank you for calling, that stuff. Client loved it, left me a great rating and a tip, and man, I'm off to the races. Little by little, the more jobs you do, there is a snowball effect, especially back then when there were fewer other voiceover actors to compete with.
Right.
Fiverr starts to move you up in the algorithm. You start to get on the front page. You're the first actor that people find when they're searching certain keywords. And, one job led to another. And I propelled pretty quickly to first level, then second level. Second level I was stuck with, but it's a bigger jump to get to the top-rated seller. And then just before I made top-rated seller, so my last 3 or 4 months of second level, I was making $4,000 or $5,000 a month on Fiverr. And man, when you're making $4,000 or $5,000 a month doing something you thought was going to be a side business, you feel pretty good, about that. So, and we could talk more about that later, but I made top-rated seller my second month eligible, and all things were firing, all cylinders were going, and then something hit. Somebody didn't like something I did, which is surprising that doesn't happen more because voiceover can be very subjective, And all of a sudden, not a $4,000 a month, but a $3,000 a month. A couple of those, then a $2,000 a month. A couple of those, and my, impressions went down, my clicks went down, and Fiverr's not showing me to as many people. And so now, I can only dream of what was on Fiverr.
That's interesting, isn't it? How that works. And you do build.
Well, I think it was, I think it was a combination of several things. There, there was a client that maybe they didn't communicate to me well, or said they loved what I did, but then left me a bad review. Or there's some people, Fiverr's all over the world. Some people leave 1 stars thinking that's the top score. And all of a sudden, they left you a low rating and they think, oh, our mistake. We didn't know 5 stars was the best rating. We thought 1 star was the best. It happens. But Fiverr still, its algorithm doesn't know any different.
Right. Yeah. And for those that are new and don't really understand some of this stuff we're talking about, clicks and impressions and the algorithm, it's a very tedious thing that you have no control of. And
Pretty
there
much.
are people out there claiming they can teach and train you to set all this up to where you will get seen, and you will if these certain keywords are being searched for.
Right.
But what we're finding is there's only a handful that people are actually putting in and searching for, and it can only churn through the algorithm so many people. My journey, I never made that much on Fiverr. So fortunately, I haven't had to come down from it. I think the biggest month I ever had on there was right around $2,000. And that was due to a huge, video sales letter I did. It was a really good paying job.
Oh yeah.
But typically for me, on there, I had a couple of YouTube clients, that, they would order, 3 episodes a week or something. And we would bundle that, and they didn't pay a lot, $10 or something, or $15. And it might be a $45 or $50 order for 3 episodes. But between Fiverr and Upwork, and we may touch on Upwork a little, I was doing, I don't know. I know how many total I did because I kept the files and I counted it not too long ago. Over 4,000 YouTube narrations.
Wow.
Over a period of a little over 2 years. Now, I only have 1 client left now, and they pay nicely. I was able to get away from all that, but the education I got from being faster in my DAW, better at reading, better at sight reading, better at editing, I wouldn't trade anything for that.
Right.
I wouldn't trade the cheap pay. But like you, I went in September of 2020. I was a little further behind. The first job I got on there was talking about how somebody had urinated in an elevator and how bad it smelled. It was a great job, but it was the first one, and it got me out of the gate. And then I think somebody sent me a poem to read, and then somebody would send me this or that. And it finally got into some better work.
Yeah.
I got through the new seller part, which I think was $400.
Yes.
I think I got through that pretty quickly, hit the next level. I got through the next level fairly quickly, hit that level 2. And I think level 2 is where a lot of people get stuck because it's
a big jump to get to top rated. Yeah.
It is. It's quite a bit of money.
And there's a manual approval process too.
Yes. But I did fortunately get approved. The first month I was eligible, I got approved, but I think that was due to the fact, and at the time I was in that Seller Plus program, which you could always ask, do I have any bad backdoor reviews? And they couldn't tell you how many or whatever, but if you didn't have any, they could say, no, you're clean, you're good, don't worry about it. Yeah. And I think that's the only reason I got through on the first month. But after that, and I was averaging, let's say, 1,000 to 1,200 a month. That was a pretty good average for me when I was part-time and even after I went full-time.
Yeah.
But after I hit top rated seller, the next month, I barely made $200. Like it was just a couple of orders. And then the next month I might've made 300, and then I might've made 450. And then I went back to 180. And I thought, I'm top rated seller. What's going on?
I know. Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out. So then, of course, back then I didn't want to lose the income, I thought. So I started adjusting some things on there, and you'll drive yourself crazy making keyword changes and changing a thumbnail and changing out your samples. And
which quite frankly, that feels like rearranging furniture on the Titanic.
It does. It does. And so I decided, other than I make pricing changes now, and I go up, 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 up. But I just don't waste a lot of time changing out the other stuff anymore. I just feel like I'll set it and forget it, and it either gets me some work or it doesn't. I'm going to focus my time elsewhere. So if I'm talking to a new person, and I'll ask you this first, we're talking to people out there who are just getting started. Maybe they're getting some workshops. Maybe they're learning their DAW. They're trying to get going. They're thinking, I got to get out there. I got to make some money.
Mm-hmm.
What's the advice on Fiverr today versus what you would have told them in 2018, 19?
Well, I think there are some similarities. I think for me, getting in there and flexing my muscles, as a young voice actor, just kind of dipping my toe in the business, it's a good place to feel it out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be getting on top level clients. In fact, you're probably not going to get top level clients as a starter, but you don't want to be making some rookie mistakes when you start to get the really bigger, the bigger clients, right?
Right.
You can get away with some of those mistakes on Fiverr.
Mm-hmm.
And you can learn while you're making a little money.
Right. Right. Let's talk about the numbers real quick.
Yeah.
I pulled this up. I pulled this up 5 minutes before we went on, and anybody can do this. If you can get on there and look. I went in and put in American male voiceover, which is the number one keyword search on Fiverr.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So under American male, English speaking, I did click that because I don't want to get anyone that's not, it's not English. And I don't know, it could be poor English speaking, but they can speak enough English to do a VO in English.
And see, I remember a time when that brought about 7,000 results.
Yeah. Yeah. 7,000 total, right?
I have a feeling you're going to be giving us a bigger number than that.
This may shock you because I broke it down into.
Oh, okay. All right.
Into also in the U.S.
Oh,
so this is in the U.S. American, and then I'm going to give you all voiceover, and yes, that number will be way higher. So just at the new, 2,992. I can tell you with all remembrance. I mean, I've got a pretty decent memory. When I was a new level seller, there were about 400. Now there's 2,992 today. There was one day I clicked it and it pulled up like 7,000, but I may have not clicked the English button. But
now,
still.
just for listeners who aren't familiar with Fiverr, this doesn't mean they just got on.
No,
you could be a new seller and have been on there for years. Yeah,
for years. This also could be quote unquote dead gigs.
Yeah,
they're in there,
right,
but they're not getting anything. They don't even care anymore. You don't know.
Right.
All right.
It would be great if they'd clean house on that.
That would. Level 1, which is your next level, 676. Boy, what a drop off, right? Level 2 is 1174. I get that because level 2, you're going to sit there a while. You're going to sit there a lot longer. So I can see that being double level 1. Makes sense. Top rated sellers, 489. So you've got over 5,500 or more American male voiceovers, English speaking, United States based.
Living in the U.S., yeah.
Yeah. Just on Fiverr.
Or their VPN says they're in the U.S.
Yes. Now, if you look at total voiceover, this would include everybody that's in there. At the new level, 9,383. At level 1, 2,335. At level 2, 3,636. And top rated sellers, 1,413.
Okay. All right.
So there's your big 9, 12, 14, that's 15,000 voiceover people.
Yep.
Voiceover gigs, I guess or profiles.
That's almost twice. I mean, that's over twice as many as what I had remembered. And that's not when I first got in, but I'm thinking like when I made top rated seller, those were it was like 7,000 plus, for just American male voiceover.
Yeah. Yeah. So. That's about right. So That's what you are tossed into an algorithm with,
Yeah.
is all of
Yep.
those people. And Fiverr, there's some very staunch statements that have been made about how they play favorites. And you know what? Maybe they do. I don't know. I do believe,
Well,
though,
if they
people that
do,
got
I'm
in.
not sure. Yeah, if they do, I'm not sure that's a very good business model.
Right.
You know,
So my belief is those who are making money and they're doing it consistently and they are in the churn and they've always got orders,
mhm.
they're going to be seen and they're going to keep getting more orders. And that's what drives their business. It's not the fact that Fiverr clicks a switch and says, keep giving that guy business. I don't believe that.
Right.
I believe the algorithm is business begets business. How am I ever going to get it if I can't do this and do that? That is the challenge that
Yeah.
none of us
Yep.
can give you an answer for. That's where you got to make up your own mind. You can go in there and follow everything you're supposed to follow, the perfect thumbnail,
Yeah.
all the right keywords and
Yep.
whatever, and you may sit for 3 months and not get a bite. And I see that in our group all the time. People saying, I've been on there 2 months and I haven't even had a nibble, and at one
Well,
time they had buyer request
yes.
that would get, you could go in there and pick stuff, but they took that
Right.
away and went to the buyer
Which those
briefs or
were,
whatever. And
yeah, the buyer request section was almost like auditioning.
yeah,
You could send a
Yeah.
quick recording, a sample of their script,
Yep.
and they can pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought buyer request was great, and the reason they got rid of it, I have no idea.
People
Well, think
complained
of it
about
this way.
but
Yeah, Troy, think of Fiverr this way. If Fiverr was a talent agency
mhm.
for voiceover, which Fiverr does way more than just voiceover. In fact, I'm not
right.
even voiceover may be one of their biggest money makers. I don't think they really even focus on voiceover.
No, I don't think so either.
They're much more into the graphic stuff, graphics arts
Mhm.
and things like that, other creative venues. But
Yep.
if Fiverr was a talent agency, then they would have a different model of putting. There are some great talent on Fiverr, some
Mhm.
wonderful talent on Fiverr, and they are on front page.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of the same kind of talent.
Right.
And you think of a talent agency, they want to fill holes. They want to
Mhm.
fill gaps. You may have the popular voices making the most money there, but not everybody's looking for that voice.
Exactly.
And you want them to be able to find the voice they're looking for. Fiverr does
Right.
not set itself up that way.
Not exactly.
It's
They
a
don't.
different world.
True. And then it's up to you when you talk about, well, how do I market on Fiverr?
Right.
Because they just got to find me. How you market is how you niche those gigs. You can have more gigs as you move up, and you're naming them based on that service you're providing.
Mhm.
And like my most popular thing, what I sell the most on there is Southern accent American male voice.
Yep.
I have a regular, American male voiceover. When I started, it got all the orders, but I didn't know to put a Southern thing out there. And then when I did, it started getting all the orders and
Yeah.
it ran off and left the other. And that's kind of the way I look at it now. I throw that line out there in the water, and if somebody orders, they order, and they're going to pay. I mean, a lot of people are saying, I wouldn't do that stuff for $5. But believe me, I don't. My average
Yeah.
order, if I scroll down through my last 10 orders, there's probably nothing on there under a couple of $100,
Yeah,
140, 150 maybe.
And that's one of the myths about Fiverr. That's, I think, a misunderstanding is that it's $5 jobs. It's
Right,
not.
right.
It's not. In fact, you don't have to do any job for any price that you don't want to do.
Sure.
You name your own price.
That's right.
But they have to hire you for that price.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I'm thinking back to the question you asked earlier, what would I say to somebody who thinks or asks the question, should I get on Fiverr now? The competition level is much, much higher.
Yes.
But the people you're marketing to in your emails that you want to send out to find new clients, those people are looking on Fiverr. The same people I want to send marketing emails to, those people that fit that description are looking at Fiverr. So why wouldn't I be on there to be in front of the same people I'm trying to market to?
Right, and especially if you're doing that at the same price point. And
Yes.
I
Yep.
think that's
Yep.
the key, and it's like you said,
Yep.
you manage this. They
Yeah.
don't make you sell for
Yeah.
$5.
That's right.
There are groups, and I hesitate to call them coaches, let's call them advisors.
Okay.
There are advisors who will say, well, you need to do this and don't go over $5 because you're competing against all these people as a new seller. No, you don't. You can do what you want to do.
Yes. Yeah.
You can start out at $100 if you want. It's
Yep.
up to you.
It's your
Based
business.
on how many words, and you have all these choices in there. This for so many words, and then you add the rights and you add the usage, and when they get done, if it's a local radio spot for 30 seconds and it's 75 words, they're paying so much for the 75 words, so much for the local usage, and it's just like the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It ends up being right at that same level.
Yeah.
I created my rate sheet of what I felt like I should be paid, what my market value is, what is competitive, but also based on where my skill level is. And I want my Fiverr's orders to match up as closely as possible. Now, it's hard to do that exactly with the word count, calculator and the different rates being at different levels for local broadcast, regional broadcast, national broadcast, and those different kinds of things.
Right.
It's maybe a little bit easier when you're doing audiobooks, exactly how many words it's going to be. That's a little more standardized, right?
Right.
But,
right.
And I have done almost every voiceover type imaginable on Fiverr.
Yeah.
I've done, I'm not big into characters, but I've done some characters acting on Fiverr. I've done a lot of e-learning. Most of what I do are explainers. I've done some audiobook work on Fiverr. I don't love the audiobook genre, but I'm fine to do it, especially if it's a shorter audiobook. What about you?
It's the same. I actually have 2 automotive clients on Fiverr. They pay.
I've got one.
Great.
Yep.
They pay great.
Yep. Actually, 2. Yeah.
I have a couple of guys that do some kind of one guy's got a YouTube channel, Buddy. I'm forgetting Buddy's last name, but I do his intros for his videos. He's got over 1 million followers, and I just did. It's like kind of like a podcast intro in a way. You're just saying a few lines, and he plugs them in on the starts of his videos. Yeah, he pays nice. Repeat client. But
you've done some radio imaging too on Fiverr, haven't you?
I've done some radio imaging on Fiverr. I have done animation work for people that are they're not at big animation studios. They're on a tight budget, but the project turned out nice.
Yeah.
One of them that I remember really well, I was a guy, some kind of character. I don't know what kind of animal he was, but he was selling elixir. And what it was hot sauce, and they'd wrap the bottle.
Snake oil salesman?
Yeah, snake oil salesman kind of guy. And he wrapped the bottle with something else. It was hot sauce. And then when they would drink the hot sauce, then they needed water, and he had very expensive water.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I love it.
It was funny. But I've done those. I've done several game things on there where they would show a scene from a game and they would overdub, some different voices or stuff on it. I've done some of those.
Okay.
I mean, there's some interesting jobs on there. And then of course, like I said, the YouTube stuff, but nowadays I have
done
one really good VSL.
I've done documentary work on Fiverr.
I had a person that did one documentary with me on there, and then about 4 months later found me off the platform, and I'm still doing work for them. So you can't
control if they find you.
You can't. If they come to you off platform, that's not on you.
That's right.
So it has driven some stuff to direct, which they all can. I mean, people say, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that. Don't talk about that. You shouldn't do that." Well, you shouldn't. Don't ask them. You'll be in trouble. But it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
But there's a huge variety of stuff, and I've even done Shell Canada, T-Mobile, DoorDash.
Yep.
And No, I didn't do it for $5.
Right.
So
Yep. Yeah, I've done some top brands on Fiverr.
A lot
as
of
well.
internal training stuff for T-Mobile, where I would be the dad on the phone saying, "Well, my son's broke his cell phone, and I need to ask about this," and stuff like that. Like they were training their operators, which was kind of fun to do. The funnest one I did was a guy hired me to do, and this was, I don't remember if it was FBI or what branch it was, but I was the guy resisting arrest. So it was, so they used it like they'd have an animation on the screen, or they would have whatever. And I'm the voice, slurred and, been drinking and whatever. And I'm yelling at the cop and whatever. And then I'd have to do like 4 different answers for whatever the question or the scene was. And depending on how they respond, it would play the next one. Those were so fun to do and paid really, really well because it was, through a government agency. So there, everybody doesn't know to go find a production house or go find an agent or how to go get a voiceover. And the ad comes on TV. Fiverr does voiceover. We have voiceover. Yeah. And people are going to go see it.
And there are voiceover actors there that are professional voiceover actors.
Absolutely.
But there are also a lot of the lower level who just want to do it as a hobby.
Yeah, they're just hacking away.
They're just, hey, it's fun. Hey, cool. I'm in a YouTube. My voice is on a YouTube, and that's all they really want to do.
Yeah, they're not going to get the good
that.
stuff.
They're not hurting anybody. That's fine to do that.
Right. I think so too.
But if you're a shopper on Fiverr, you need to know the difference.
Yeah, and maybe that's what this new pro designation is for.
I think so. Go ahead.
Well, the pro designation used to be you had to commit that minimum price, $100 on any gig. Well, now there have been invitations to join it, and you don't even have to change your pricing, which that part I'm a little bit in disagreement with. If you're going to be at a pro level, you should have to charge more. That does tell a client, because when you go on there and you're searching, you have to click a certain little slide button to get it to pro only, and you'll only see pro gigs, and you will see people when you do that, no doubt. You will also see, you may also hear people but you're like, that's not their picture and that's not their name. That happens. But anyway, let's skip over that because there are people on there incognito.
Yeah.
But this pro thing is supposedly, I guess, going to take it to another level. The thing I don't like about it is someone like me, I applied for it 2 or 3 weeks ago, right before they came out, or maybe they had just come out with those emails. I didn't know about it when I applied, but some people got an email and automatically got flipped over to pro just by saying, yeah, I accept. They clicked the thing in the email. I wasn't part of that beta testing. I didn't get that, but I'm trying to get mine converted over to that because that's what I want to put out into this community and any community.
Right.
I'm doing this at a pro level on Fiverr, not as even as a top rated seller, which to me, that's a pretty nice badge. But when you put the pro badge on there, I think it's going to change it even more that I'm committed to charging the higher rate. And if you want to get a good voiceover, come to the pro area and search in here. And then maybe I can still dial that southern niche in the pro area and maybe get a little more business. Who knows?
Now, have you heard the rumor that they are wanting to get all add this large bulk of pro accounts so that they would make their Fiverr business side all pros? Have you heard that rumor?
I have heard that, and the Fiverr business thing, which that was 1.5 years, 2 years ago, where they came out to set those profiles up and all that, and we did all that and tried to make it nice, but nothing really came of it much.
It didn't seem to make a difference. Fiverr has tried so many things, and I think a lot of them are designed for other sectors of Fiverr, and they just throw voiceover in.
And I think they're also trying to get out from under the Fiverr thing of $5. And there's got to be somebody somewhere rubbing his head going, why did I ever name it Fiverr? Why didn't I call it, People Market or something, anything. I mean, like Upwork. when you think of
Sure.
Upwork, I don't look at Upwork and think $5,
Right.
but I look at Fiverr and I think
Yeah.
$5.
Right.
Upwork is not that much better, and on Upwork you've got to go
Yeah,
search it out
Upwork has
on your
changed
own,
so
and
much. I know
it
this is not an
has.
Upwork episode,
It
but
has. Yeah, and we may
yeah.
do one of those later because people need to know about it too.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll give my bottom line, my closing thing, because we've ranted about it for a while. It's your choice.
Right.
You're a grown person. It's your business.
Yep.
Don't go on there and ruin and cheapen yourself.
Correct.
Don't go in there blind thinking you're going to do what people were able to do 3 or 4 years ago. I don't think I've seen anybody progress quickly in the last couple of years. We used to see it all the time, people racing through, and remember all the posts about, hey, I'm level 1. Hey, I'm already level 2. Bang, I'm top rated seller.
Yeah.
And they were, I'm making, 5 figures every month, and they might've been breaking 10, 12 grand a month.
Yeah.
Some
And
of those
listen,
I've
people
seen.
if you're not on Fiverr, you don't understand that there are voice actors who are good voice actors that are making 5 figures a month on
Yes,
Fiverr
there
only.
are.
Only on
There
Fiverr.
are. Yeah. Yeah. And now they're seeing us doing what we're doing with direct marketing, and they're wanting to do direct marketing because they know it only takes one mistake, one wrong move, one bad something, as you know,
As I know well, yeah.
and the rug can come out. Also, even further, I heard of one guy had posted this. I think somehow he had done something in his gig and added a family member to his gig, and he didn't do it.
Yes.
He didn't do it, and he lost his Fiverr account,
Yes.
and he
Yep.
could
I
not go
know of who
back
you
on.
speak. Yeah.
Yeah, and he couldn't even get back on there.
Yep. Had to create a whole new account.
Yeah, yeah. So they can pull the rug out from under
Yeah.
you. That's a good thing about direct clients.
Yeah. I will add to
do
that.
your own
Those
thing.
are good pieces of advice. I would also add to that if Fiverr needs to be a part of your plan if you choose to do it, not your whole voiceover business.
Yes.
If you're wanting to be a full-time voiceover actor, Fiverr can't be all you do.
Right.
It has to be a spoke in the wheel.
Right.
In addition to that, and I love the way Bill DeWeese phrases it, when you go fishing, I think we've used fishing metaphors on here before. You go fishing,
Absolutely.
you throw one reel out that's got a bobber and a crawdad or a minnow on it, right? And you just let it sit. And
Yep.
you've got another pole that you're maybe bait casting and you're reeling it in, right?
Yep.
Fiverr sits there and it waits for some buyer to come and hear, like what they hear in your demo and say, hey, I would like you to do this job for me.
Mm-hmm.
So more baits in the water means more income for your business overall.
Yeah.
And Fiverr can be a part of that.
It can be. It can be. And like we say, it's up to you. It's your decision. You're going to be agitated and frustrated. And if you're a patient person and can do all that and put up with it, good luck. It's not the same as it was when we got in. We were probably, I was probably the tail end of the COVID rush that was actually able to get through the levels in a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
And then I think now, I mean, it's a slog. It's really hard for people to do it.
I feel like there were
be
two COVID
successful.
rushes, honestly.
Mhm.
There was when the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden there is a group of folks who thought about doing voiceover, and now they have maybe lost their job, they're sitting at home, and they have the opportunity. This opportunity wasn't there before because they were so busy with their regular jobs. They jumped on Fiverr and started doing that. Then I think the second rush is people loved being at home, and now they were going back to work and like, I kind of don't want to go back to work. So they tried to find something new, and voiceover was something they had thought about, and now they're jumping on Fiverr and doing that.
Right. I agree. It's tricky. And there are a lot of people out there still teaching the same thing they were teaching in 2019 and 2020. And it's just not exactly the same road that it was then, in my opinion.
Yep.
They may see it different. I don't know. I just don't see people getting in there and catching fire like they did back then. But
Well, there are
anyway.
exceptions to the rule, and
Oh, sure. There's
and
always a unicorn.
there is, and unicorns were the population of unicorns was higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's going
sure.
down.
For sure. Well, we hope we haven't bored a lot of people to death, and hopefully we hadn't run anybody away, because this is an important piece of the pie, whether we like it or not. And even if you don't like it, you've never supported it, that's okay. If you're able to make it another way, I think that's fantastic, especially those of you that are established and have never had to deal with it. Heck, there's days I get up, I wish I never had to deal with it, but now that it is that little piece of my wagon wheel, I'm not going to drop it, but I'm also going to make, like I said earlier, I'm going to make it where it's in line with everything else I do. And we'll see how this pro thing goes. I'm anxiously awaiting approval, because I would like to get that badge on my items there and move on from the other.
I need to consider that, I think.
Yeah, just say, hey, there it is. That's what I do. That's what my price is. And you set it, and like you said, set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Well, thanks for joining me, Alden. Jake, hate you missed this, but he's one of the smart ones that really doesn't love Fiverr either. So he had kind of got on there and got his gig going. He's like, I don't want to deal with this, and I kind of get it.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
It. When you're booking otherwise, it's hard.
Yep.
It's hard.
Yep. If it's not early in your business model, it probably won't be in it at all.
I agree. I think that's the thing. And for us early on, it was a great place to learn and pick up some side money and pay for the things to get us where we are now. But for you guys that are new, if you have the time and the patience and the disposable income to where you can go to workshops and coach and practice and do this and this and this and not have to deal with it and not have to go through those levels to try to get there to make decent money, you can do it another way. I'm all for you. I'm behind you 100%.
Yep.
So good luck with that. Good luck with even if you're on there fighting through the levels of whatever you're doing. Hopefully this may have given you some insight into why it's loved and hated so much.
Oh, yeah.
Alden, have a good weekend, man.
You too, sir. Try to stay cool.
I'm going to stay inside. It's too freaking hot.
Yeah.
Too freaking hot.
You've been listening to It's Another VO Podcast. I'm Alden Schinneberg. And I'm Jake the Snake.
No, you are not. Settle down.
All right. I'm Jake Sanders.
And I'm Troy Holden.
Join us weekly as we spill the beans about our challenges being full-time struggling voice actors. Yeah, and by the way, my girlfriend says you two better get it together, because she doesn't want me carrying you two on this podcast.
Saith the voiceover rookie himself. But be sure and join us on the next episode, because I guarantee it, Jake will do something worth hearing.
And what do you mean by that? No, really, what does that mean?
Dude, let it go. It's all right. It's all right.